Good morning friends. Today we are going to start with the very first chapter of this book, that is chapter number 1, the number systems. Right. Before starting with this chapter, first of all let us see what the numbers are, a brief introduction about the numbers, and then we shall start with the topics of this chapter. Now, the number systems. Number systems basically means the classification of numbers into some groups which has their own identification, right? Now, all the numbers that are present to us, first of all, that can be shown on a number line. So, first of all, you must know that what a number line is, right? A number line is a line which denotes or which shows all the numbers that are being classified on its own category, right? That means if I draw a line here that goes from minus infinite to plus infinite, carrying a 0 here, then the numbers on the right side of the 0 will have their own property, that is they are all the positive numbers, right? And the numbers on the left side of 0, they are the negative numbers, right? So we know that these are the positive numbers, negative numbers and 0. But what about those numbers which are in decimals, which are represented in the fraction part, or which are suppose represented as the square roots? So they may be also here present. That means I will have some number here 0.5. I shall have some number here like 3 by 5, right? Sorry, not 3 by 5, whatever it may be like 2 by 3 or anything like that. I may also have a number here like 3 by 2, right? And so on. That means I shall have some of the numbers here like this. I shall also have a number here between 1 and 2 as root 2, right? I shall also have a number here between 3 and 4 as root 11, right? That means these are the numbers that can be shown here on this number line. So each and every number that exists in this universe can be represented on this single number line, right? Now what actually the thing is, these numbers are being classified into some groups which have their own identity. That means the positive numbers can be represented as the natural numbers or whole numbers. Then negative numbers includes in the integers, positive integers or positive numbers are also included in integers. Then we are having rational numbers, irrational numbers and so on. So let us see the classification of the numbers, right? So this was briefly about the number system, and introduction basically includes the classification of the numbers. So first and foremost classification of the number systems or of the numbers is the natural numbers. Natural numbers basically are denoted by capital N, and these numbers includes the numbers that starts from 1 up to positive infinite. That means up to the last number. Last number we don't know, so we write it as positive infinite, or 1 2 3 4 up to so on, right? So these are all the numbers, they are known as the natural numbers. That means 1 2 3 up to infinite, right? Now you can see here that in the group of natural numbers there is no negative number present, there is no negative integer present, there is not a 0 is also not present, right? So these are the natural numbers. Then we have the whole numbers, right? Whole numbers are basically denoted as capital W, right? These are the whole numbers, and this is a group which starts from 0 including all the natural numbers. That means all the natural numbers and including 0 becomes the group of the whole numbers. That means the basic definition of whole numbers is, whole number is a group of number which contains all the natural numbers including 0. So they are known as the whole numbers. Now the third case or the third group we have are the integers, right? And integers are being denoted as capital Z. This Z comes from the word Zahlen, Zahlen, right? And Zahlen basically, that is an Greek word, and this Greek word basically means in English is to count the numbers. Right, count the numbers. Count the numbers, that means you can say that basically that means you need to gather all the numbers in one place, right? So they are basically known as the integers. Integers basically means all the numbers present here, present in this universe, but only the perfect numbers, rather than taking out the decimals, rather than taking out the rational numbers, rather than taking out the irrational numbers. Those numbers are being removed, and only the perfect numbers that are known as the integers. So integers basically is subdivided into three categories. First is the positive integers. The second one is the 0 itself, and the third one is the negative integers. Right? Positive integers basically they are 1, 2, 3 up to infinite. 0 we already know, and these are -1, -2 and up to minus infinite, right? So these are basically means the integers. That means integers can be generally written as minus infinite to -2, -1, 0, 1, 2 up to plus infinite, right? This is basically means what the integers are. So integers are the numbers that starts from minus infinite to 0 to plus infinite. All the negative numbers, positive numbers and 0, but numbers that are perfect, that means all complete numbers, they are being included in the category of integers, right? Then the fourth thing we have is the rational numbers. Basically represented as capital Q, and this capital Q here means the quotient, right? This capital Q here means the quotient. That means this quotient can be available to us when we divide two numbers, right? When we divide two numbers, that means that the numbers that are in division can be represented as rational numbers. So the basic definition is numbers which can be represented in the P by Q form, where P and Q are integers and Q is not equal to 0, right? That means that P and Q both are integers here. What this P and Q are? They are integers, and again the denominator, that means the Q is not equals to 0. If this Q becomes 0, then the number becomes infinite, and that is no longer a rational number, right? So you might remember now that a rational number can be represented always in the form of P by Q, where P and Q are the integers and Q is not equal to 0. So friends, these are the rational numbers. Now let us discuss something about the irrational numbers, and lastly about the real numbers. So the fifth one is irrational numbers. Friends, irrational numbers are the numbers which can not be represented in the form of p by q, right? Which cannot be represented in the form of p by q, right? So these all the numbers are known as the irrational numbers. That means we can say that the numbers which cannot be represented in the p by q form. So now you might come with a question that, sir, is 1 an irrational number or not? So no, 1 is not an irrational number. There is some basic definition for irrational numbers, that how to identify the irrational numbers and what the irrational numbers denotes, right? We shall discuss this irrational numbers in the topic that comes next to us, right, in the upcoming topics. Rather than discussing it right now, we just know that irrational numbers are the numbers which cannot be represented in the form of p by q, right? We shall discuss this thing later on. And the last one is the real numbers, basically denoted as capital R. So real numbers basically means the numbers that we have discussed till now: natural numbers, whole numbers, integers, rational numbers and irrational numbers. Mixture of it is a mixture of natural numbers, whole numbers, integers, rational numbers and irrational numbers, right? All this mix up, and that we get now will be an real number, right? The mixture of natural numbers, whole numbers, integers, rational numbers and irrational numbers mix up, and we get a new classification, that is the real numbers. This is also known as the father of all number system. Father of all number system, that means all the numbers present in the universe can be classified as real numbers. You can classify everything into real numbers, right? So that is basically what the numbers, or what the classification of the numbers are. You please take a note of this. Okay, now after taking a look at the classification of the numbers, we shall now come to a conclusion. 2 or 3 conclusions that we can get here from this is, you please note down this important notes, that is, every whole number is not a natural number. See friends, is every whole number a natural number? Every whole number, that means these are the whole numbers. Is every whole number a natural number? No. All the numbers starting from 1 to infinite in the category of whole numbers are natural numbers, except the number 0, because this 0 is not being included in the category of natural numbers. So every whole number is not a natural number, but every natural number is a whole number, right? Every whole number is not a natural number, but every natural number is a whole number. Is it clear, friends? So that is the main thing you need to know. You can come to so many conclusions from this, right? But we are only dealing with the important ones. Important ones, that means this can be asked in the examination by twisting the question, right? This can be asked in the examination if they twist the question and then they ask you. You might be confused at what the answer will be, right? Then the next or the second point is, every integer is a rational number. Is it so? Every integer is a rational number? Yes or no? See friends, integers, these are the integers positive, negative and 0. And each and every integer can be a rational number. If I say that these numbers are written with a denominator q equal to 1, we know that q is not equal to 0. That means we can keep q as any of the integer except 0. So what if I write 1 upon 2? What if I write 1 upon 1? What if I write 2 upon 1, 3 upon 1, minus 1 upon 1, minus 2 upon 1, 0 upon 1, anything? Right? If I say that the denominator of any integer is 1 and 1 itself, then these numbers, these integers can now be represented in the form of p by q here as 1 upon 1, 2 upon 1, 3 upon 1, 4 upon 1, minus 1 upon 1 or anything like that, right? So we can say now that each and every integer present here in this classification can be rational numbers, but it is not necessary that every rational number must be a integer. Right? When and when the rational number goes, or when and when the rational number gets a denominator 1, at that time that will become an integer. So every integer is a rational number, but it is not necessary that every rational number must be an integer. Then the third thing goes like, as I said, every rational number needs not to be an integer, right? Every rational number needs not to be an integer. When this happens, when the denominator of the rational number becomes 1, that means if I write 1 upon 1, that becomes 1. If I write 2 upon 1, that becomes, sorry, my mistake, 2. If I write 3 upon 1, that becomes 3. That means when and when the denominator, that means the q part, the q part of a rational number becomes 1, at that time that rational number becomes an integer, right? So every rational number needs not to be an integer. So these are some of the conclusions that you might come from this classification. You might also create new conclusions that what this can be discussed or what this can be asked as per it can be asked in the examination. So please take a look over it and then we shall move on to the next topic. Okay. Now coming back to the topic, I am having an example here that can be asked in the examination in 2 marks, right? So let us discuss it quickly and then we shall move further with the irrational numbers. Okay, I'm having an example here. Find 5 rational numbers between 1 and 2, right? I need to find out 5 rational numbers between 1 and 2. Rational numbers basically means the form of p by q. So how to find out? There are 2 different methods to solve this, right? Let us first of all discuss the first method. First method is very simple here, friends. See, I would prefer you to solve the first method when and when this kind of question is asked. But if you don't remember the first method, then you can also opt for the second method. but second method is somewhat for a difficult one. Now it goes like here, let r equals to 1 and s equals to 2. What we shall say first of all, that r is equals to 1 and s equals to 2. So first number between 1 and 2, that is r plus s by 2, and that is 1 plus 2 by 2, which is equals to 3 by 2. You can see friends that 3 by 2 here is a rational number that shows us the p by q form, and the denominator here is again a non-zero one, so that is a valid rational number. So the first number here is 3 by 2. Similarly, now let r equals to 1 and s equals to 1 by 2. So the second number, that is equals to r plus s by 2, right? Or you can also take it as s1. So r plus s1 by 2, that is 1 plus 1 by 2 upon 2, that is 3 by 2 upon 2, which will give us 3 by 4, right? So that is again another second number between 1 and 2, that is 3 by 4. Similarly, now let s1 equals to 1 by 2, or okay, let us say we will find out between s1 and s. So s1 equals to 1 by 2 and s is equals to 2. Therefore the third number, that is s1 plus s by 2, that is 1 by 2 plus 2 upon 2, that is 5 by 2 upon 2, which will give me 5 by 4, right? So friends, see, here we got 3 by 2, 3 by 4 and 5 by 4. Now see what actually happens here when I show this on the number line. When I show this on the number line, let us say that this is 1 here and this is 2 here, right? I have magnified that 1 and 2. So I shall get 5 numbers here, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 numbers here. First of all, if I find out r plus s by 2, that goes like for the midpoint of 1 and 2. So the number we get here will be somewhere here, that is 3 by 2. You can check out 3 by 2 is 1.5, that is exactly in center of 1 and 2, right? So I got 3 by 2 here. Then I got the number between 1 and 1 by 2. 1 and, sorry, what did I take here was 3 by 2, that was my mistake. So I shall get here 3 by 2, that will I shall get here 5 by 2, and that will get me here 5 by 4. Then we got here 5 by 4, so that will be 5 by 4 and 2. 4 into 2, 8 plus 5, that is 13 by 4 upon 2, and that gives me 13 by 8, right? So friends, I got a number between 1 and 3 by 2. So 1 and 3 by 2, this can be any of this number. So let us say that if I got between 1 and 3 by 2, that is 5 by 4 here, and I got a number between 5 by 4 and 2, that means 5 by 4 and 2 will now be 13 by 8, so that will be somewhere here, right? So you can get the numbers in this way also, right? So this, if you continue this one, you will get 4 and 5th number also. Let us discuss it clearly, that what we get the numbers here rather than going for the short solution. So let me solve it again for you and explain that how to solve this kind of examples, right? So first of all, I have taken r equals to 1 and 2, right? I am going to show you here on the number line also, so that it becomes clear for you. This is my 1 and this is my 2, right? So let r equals to 1 and s equals to 2. So the first number, that is equals to r plus s by 2, that is 1 plus 2 by 2, that is 3 by 2. So we will get a number here, that is 3 by 2, right? See friends, the circled ones are the given ones and the numbers, the rational numbers that I am writing down here will no longer be a it will no longer be a natural number now. Sorry. Now, what we know is we need to find out another numbers. Now let r equals to 1 and s1 equals to 3 by 2. We shall find out a number between 3 by 2 and 1, or 1 and 3 by 2. So again, the second number, that is equals to r plus s1 by 2, that is 1 plus 3 by 2 by 2, that will be 5 by 2 upon 2, which is equals to 5 by 4, right? So I shall get a number here between 1 and 3 by 2, that is 5 by 4, right? The previous one that I got was 3 by 2. Now I got a number here between 1 and 3 by 2. Similarly, I shall also find a number between 3 by 2 and 2. Now let s equals to, or yes, we already know that s is equals to 2 and s1 is equals to 3 by 2. Therefore, the third number, that is equals to s plus s1 by 2, which is equals to 2 plus 3 by 2 upon 2, that is 2 into 2 4 plus 3 7, 7 by 2 upon 2, which is equals to 7 by 4, right? So I shall get a number here, that is 7 by 4. Is it clear, friends? So we got the third number between 1 and 2, that is 7 by 4. Now see, friends, if I want to find out the rest of the two numbers, I can find it out here and here. I can also find it out between these two rational numbers also. Rather than finding out between these two rational numbers, let me find it out between 1 and 5 by 4. Now let r equals to 1 and s2 is equals to 5 by 4. Therefore, fourth number, that is r plus s2 by 2, that is equals to 1 plus 5 by 4 upon 2, that will give me 9 by 4 upon 2, which is 9 by 8. So I got a number here, that is 9 upon 8, right? And lastly, let s3 equals to 7 by 4 and s is equals to 2. Therefore, the fifth number is equals to s3 plus s upon 2, that is equals to 7 by 4 plus 2 upon 2, that is 15 by 4 upon 2, which is equals to 15 by 8. So I got a number here, that is 15 upon 8. Is it clear, friends? So in this way we can see that we can get 5 rational numbers between 1 and 2, and those numbers that we got here are 9 by 8, 5 by 4, 3 by 2, 7 by 4 and 15 by 8. Note that, friends, it is not necessary that you might also get the same numbers that I got it here, right? Sometimes you might have taken the numbers that lies in between these and these. Suppose if you have taken these two rational numbers, 5 by 4 and 3 by 2, then you might get some another answer, right? I have taken 1 and 5 by 4. If you take 5 by 4 and 3 by 2, then you might get some another answer also. So it is not compulsory to get these 5 rational numbers only, but it is necessary that the numbers that you get from these must be a rational number. Is it clear? So this is our required 5 rational numbers here. Now let us go for the second method. The second method that gives us some 5 rational numbers between 1 and 2 is, first of all, here given numbers are 1 and 2, and we need 5 rational numbers so divide the given two numbers as we get 5 plus 1 6, right? So we shall now divide the numbers as we get 5 plus 1 equals to 6. Why 5 plus 1 only? Because we require only 5 rational numbers, and so we get 5 plus 1, that is 6, right? If I was asked to find out 7 rational numbers, then I might have taken 7 plus 1, that is 8. So I shall divide the given two numbers by 8 so that it gives me all 8 real numbers or all 7 rational numbers. So now I shall divide it. Therefore we get 1 upon 6 as 1 upon 6 or 1 upon 6 and 2 upon 6. But see friends, if I only divide the numbers by 6, it is possible for me to get a number 1? No. So what should I write here? We get 1 is equals to 6 by 6 and 2 is equals to 12 by 6. Right. Now this 1 can be written as 6 upon 6 and this 2 can be written as 12 upon 6. So we are to find out 5 rationals or 5 rational numbers between 6 by 6 and 12 by 6. Hence we get 7 by 6, 8 by 6, 9 by 6, 10 by 6 and 11 by 6. Note that friends, we have converted the numbers 1 and 2, right? We have converted the numbers 1 and 2 such that we get the numbers 6 upon 6 and 12 upon 6. How is it done? By simply dividing the two numbers by 6. 6 that we got it from 5 plus 1. 5, that is the rational numbers or number of rational numbers we need to obtain, plus 1, that gives me 6. And if I multiply a number, if I divide a number, then it is compulsory for me to multiply also, right? So this 1 can be written as 6 upon 6 and this 12 can be written as 2 can be written as 12 upon 6. That means I got two rational numbers, 6 upon 6 and 12 upon 6. Right, that gives me the required number 7 by 6, 8 by 6, 9 by 6, 10 by 6 and 11 by 6. Hence, this numbers can finally be written as 7 by 6, 4 by 3, 3 by 2, 5 by 3 and 11 by 6. Right, so these are our required rational numbers. You can see friends that we also got a 3 by 2 here, we also got a 3 by 2 there. Similarly you can get many more numbers, right? So the first method gives us these rational numbers and the second method gives us the second set of rational numbers. So in this way you can obtain many more rational numbers also, right? Now coming back to this, one more question let me give you to do it by yourself, that I need to find out 7 rational numbers between 3 and 4, right? So it will be very easier for you to do it, that finding out 7 rational numbers between 3 and 4. Just do it by yourself and then we shall discuss how to do it. Okay, so what we are asked to do is we need to find out 7 rational numbers between 3 and 4. So let us go by the second method itself. First of all, here given numbers are 3 and 4 and we divide it by 7 plus 1, that gives me 8, right? Therefore 3 can be written as 24 upon 8 and 4 can be written as 32 upon 8. Yes or no? So you can check out, friends, that this 24 upon 8 and 32 upon 8 has a clear difference of 7. But the numbers lying in between, you don't simply minus them. If you minus them, you will get a difference of 8. But rather than subtracting it directly, what we shall do is, we shall find out the numbers between them. So if I count out the numbers, then I get 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, right? We are not going to take 24 and 32 both. Hence, our required numbers are 25 upon 8, then 26 upon 8, 27 upon 8, 28 upon 8, 29 upon 8, 30 upon 8 and 31 upon 8, right? So we can finally simplify this as 25 upon 8, 13 by 4, 27 upon 8, 7 by 2, right? We can write this number as 7 by 2 because this can be cancelled out by 4. So that is 7 by 2, 29 upon 8, 15 by 4 and finally 31 upon 8. Okay friends, so in this way we can find out the rational numbers, right? In this way we can find out the rational numbers between two real numbers that is given to you, right? You can also find out some rational numbers between two given rational numbers also, but for that it is compulsory to use the first method that we have solved, right? Okay, so is it clear to you? Now we are going to move on to the next topic of this chapter, that is the irrational numbers. Irrational numbers. Basically, as we discussed earlier also, the numbers which cannot be represented in the P by Q form are known as irrational numbers, right? The numbers which cannot be represented in the form of P by Q. Numbers which cannot be represented in P by Q form is called irrational numbers. Here P and Q are integers and Q is not equal to 0, right? So the numbers which cannot be represented in the form of P by Q, they are known as irrational numbers. Let us see, for example, I am having an example here. For example, let me say root 2. We know the value of root 2 as 1.41. So you might come to a conclusion that, sir, is 1.41 an irrational number? I might say yes. Then you might ask me that why? So the value of root 2 we know is 1.41, but actually this value is a non-terminating number. Note that, friends. This value is a non-terminating number. That means the numbers which never terminate are being classified in the category of irrational number. Let me say, for example, root 3, root 5 and so on, right? Again, one more example I am having is pi, right? Pi is also an irrational number, but we know that the value is 3.14, right? But we take this number, or we take this value up to 2 decimals only. So pi is again an irrational number. You can also see a number like 0.1010010001000 and so on. See, friends, this decimal number I have written here is a non-terminating decimal number. Neither it is recurring. So the irrational numbers are such numbers which have a non-terminating decimal expansion also. Now, what does a decimal expansion means? That we are going to look in the next topic again, right? So first of all, let us deal with this irrational numbers. This is a very small topic. So irrational numbers are this kind of numbers. This can be represented root 2, root 3, root 5, pi, and this non-terminating decimal numbers, right? Now, a question might be asked from this topic is, you need to locate an irrational number on the number line that we discussed in the first topic of this chapter. And the question that might be asked is like, locate root 2 on the number line, right? Now, to locate this, first of all, if I want to locate this number on the number line, I shall need the help of a rounder, right? I know, or we know that what a rounder is. Rounder is an instrument that is used to draw an arc with the given center, right? Now you might come to conclusion that, sir, why can't we draw a circle? So circle is also an arc here. So it is an instrument that is used to draw an arc. Now root 2 on the number line, we all know that the value of root 2 is 1.41. Now here what we shall write down is, here root 2 can be written as square root of 1 plus 1. See, friends, this method is not given in the textbook. So rather than looking in the textbook, you please look at here, because this is clearly made by me so that you can understand it clearly. This 2 can be written as 1 plus 1. Always, whenever you are asked to write down, or you are asked to locate any of the numbers, any of the irrational numbers on the number line, you will always write it as like this. Suppose if I am asked to write down root 3, then I shall write it as 2 plus 1. Suppose if I am asked to locate root 5, then I shall locate it like this, 4 plus 1. That means whenever any number is asked to locate on the number line, whenever any irrational number is asked to locate it on the number line, at that time we shall always write it in the plus 1 format. Plus 1 format, that means this 1 here will always be taken as the vertical axis, or will always be taken on the vertical axis, and the first number will be taken on the horizontal axis, right? So clearly what you can do here is root 2, that is 1 plus 1. So on the number line, first of all, let us mark 1, this will be 0, and this will be somewhat 2 here, right? Now on 1, what we are going to do, we are going to mark a vertical line of 1 centimeter or 1 unit, whatever the unit you take, right? On 1, we are going to mark a vertical line of 1 unit, right? So that this is 1, and you can see here that 0 to 1 is also a 1, right? So this vertical line is of 1 unit, and 0 to 1 is also 1 unit. Join this 0 and 1 here like this, so that we get a right angled triangle, right? we get a right angle triangle. So that is 0, 1, this is also 1. With the help of a rounder, mark the center at O. That means you will put that metal tip at O with center O or 0 and radius equals to this much. Cut an arc on the number line. Right? What you will do, you will again cut an arc on the number line. Let me draw it here, an enlarged figure. So that is our number line. That is my 0. That is my 1. That is my 2. Right? What shall I do first of all is, I shall draw a vertical line of 1 unit here. Right? This is my vertical line of 1 unit. Now see, you will take this distance as 1. That means to complete our triangle, we shall take this 0 to 1 and this 1. Connect this tip of the vertical line to the 0 point. Right? We shall connect this tip to the 0 point. Now with the help of the rounder, make the center at O, radius equals to, let me name here at A, and this is O. Take the radius equals to OA and cut an arc here on the number line that comes between 1 and 2. So the arc here that will come between 1 and 2. So this point that you get here will be nearly about 1.41, which is exactly equals to root 2. Why? Now we come to a conclusion that if this is a vertical line, then this will be a right angle, and if this becomes a right angle, then the square of this third side, this slanting line, is equals to the sum of the squares of the other two sides. Right? Square of the slanting line or length of the slanting line, is equals to square root of the squares of, or square root of the sum of the squares of the other two sides. So that will give me square root of 1 plus 1, which is equals to root 2. So the length of this slanting line is root 2, and that is now projected here on the number line. So that becomes root 2 as 1.41. Right? So in this way you can locate root 2 on the number line. Okay friends, so this is how to locate the numbers on the number line. Right? Now we shall take one more example of this, how to locate the numbers on the number line, and then we shall move further on. Okay? Hello? Okay. So I am having one more example here, that is locate root 3 on the number line. Right? Now see, I want to locate this root 3. Root 3 is somewhat 10% difficult than the root 2. Difficult in the sense that means you need to perform the steps that we performed in locating root 2 twice. Right? You need to perform those steps 2 times so that we get the value of root 3. Now, what we shall do first of all here is, root 3 can be written as square root of 2 plus 1. Right? So before locating root 3, first of all we need to locate root 2, because this gives me a number 2 and 1. So this 2 must be located over there, because we cannot directly take it as 2. Why? Because here this 2 is in the square root. So it is not possible for us to directly locate 2 on the number line and then we can draw it, right? So first of all, what we shall do here is, we shall locate first of all root 2. So I am taking 0, 1 and 2. Right? Now what happens here is, this is my 1 unit. Right? I shall draw a 1 unit line perpendicular at 1 such that this becomes 90, and once this I get this perpendicular line of 1 unit, I shall connect it with this 0. That gives me a right angle triangle. Now if this is 1, this is 1, what will be this? Exactly, this will be root 2. With the help of the rounder, placing its point at 0, and I shall take the radius up to OA, and I shall draw an arc here. So this point gives me the value 1.41. Is it clear, friends? Now what I shall do next thing is, again I shall draw a line of 1 unit at this point 1.41. Note that, friends, now I have got this 2 here. This 2, that means root 2. See, you cannot write it like this, but to understand, let us write it like this. To understand, you cannot write any of the irrational number like this, so you cannot split out the square roots. You cannot split out the square roots. So I'm going to write this root 3, sorry, yes, root 3 as square root of 2 plus 1, which is square root of 2 plus square root of 1. So I got the square root of 2 here. Now I need to add again 1 on this. So what I'm going to do next is, I'm going to draw another vertical line of same 1 unit that I have drawn here at 1. Right. So again this is of 1 unit. Following the same step, I shall connect this B point to the 0. So I get a point here somewhat like this, right? That is my point B of the perpendicular line. Again, with the help of the rounder, placing the tip at O and radius OB, I shall draw another line on this, which gives me on a point of 1.73, approximately near about 1.73, which is exactly equals to root 3, right? So friends, if I can draw this root 2 first, then I can draw any of the numbers, right? That means I can locate any of the numbers. So the first and foremost thing to understand is to locate root 2 on the number line. So I explained you in the first case how to locate root 2, and then we started with locating the number root 3. Now for your self study, locate root 5, root 7 and root 11 on the number line. Friends, I have given you 3 questions, root 5, root 7 and root 11. I need you to understand how to do this. So first of all, let me give you a hint, then you continue with doing this. Root 5 can be written as square root of 4 plus 1. Now the hint you must catch from this is, once you get the number, first of all check for this nearest perfect square less than that number possible. Understand, the nearest perfect square but less than that number. If I have given you 5, then what is the nearest perfect square less than 5? It is 4, right? That means the value of root 5 will be greater than 4 but less than 3, sorry, greater than 2 but less than 3. How it is? Because this can be written as 2 plus root 1. It cannot be, but we are going to write it like, okay, so that is root 5. It is 2 plus root 1 because root 5 occurs after root 4 and root 4 is equals to 2. So root 5 is root 4 plus 1, that can be written in our sense as 2 plus root 1, right? Now what you are going to do is, first of all you are going to locate 2 here on the number line. That means 0, 1 and 2. You are going to draw a perpendicular line of 1 unit. Note that, friends, this perpendicular line will always be of 1 unit only, right? You are not going to take it like root, if it is asked for root 5, then root 3 plus root 2, then you draw a perpendicular line of 2 and then you connect. That will give you the wrong answer. Again, let me connect this tip over here and I shall make an arc such that the radius is equals to a with the help of a rounder. The value that you get here on the number line, that will be exactly equals to root 5, that is 2.25.